All right, NFL Week 9 is here. This is the full preview along with starts and sits. We're going to go through every match, give you all the optimal starts, who you should start, who you should consider sitting. Also, the latest news and notes. We got Jared Hall starting. Jared Hall for the Vikings. We got all these new shifts and changes. Jimmy Garoppolo's getting benched. We got so much to cover in such a crucial week. For a lot of people, you got to win, guys. It's week 9. It's a crucial week. And on the show, for the preview, the full preview here, starts and sits, we got Jimmy, a.k.a. the Maverick. What's going on, Jim?
Hey, man, just having a good week, and I hope you had a nice Halloween. Did you take the kids around, get them some candy, get some delicious stuff for yourself?
Yeah, one of them was, I think she was, I don't know, one of the princesses from Disney. I don't even, Rapunzel or something like that. And the boy was Spider-Man. And we did it a little bit, and they handed out candy too. So they were excited. It was a fun day.
That's good. That's awesome.
Halloween could, I didn't want to, I dressed up as the counselor. So that's about it. Backwards hat. And
I don't really do costumes, but it was a good time. We had a party over at our house last night, and it was cold, but we had fires going in the fireplace. We have a fire pit table, and so it was nice. It was a nice time. Everybody had a good time. So.
You're a big party animal coming back from Vegas, and then partying again, party Vegas, party home. You're just a party animal, Jim. Ever since
we leave a very active social life. So yes, that's true.
All right. Speaking of staying active, actively groom your body with the Lawnmower 5.0 right here, guys. Beautiful design, dual heads. One's got the brand new. This is like a body trimmer. I get to shave my back with it. It's got the foil, technology here. Then you got the skin safe here for your balls. Grab the Lawnmower 5.0. Amazing product. They got body wash. They got underwear. Go treat yourself to anything on the site. When I say treat yourself, go do it now, guys. November, Christmas is around the corner. Treat yourself. Manscaped.com. Showerline20 is the code you want to use to save on anything on the site. Go take action now. Showerline20 Manscaped. Go try the body wash. Try the Lawnmower 5.0. There's tons of packages there as well, and you can save 20%. Showerline20. All right, Jim, let's start off with the news and notes here for NFL Week 9. I almost said Week 6 for a second. I'm like,
yeah.
Man, no, Week
We're way
9.
past that at this point. Yeah.
Week 9 news and notes here, and the first thing that jumps out at me when we're looking at the news and notes is Joshua Dobbs is acquired by to the Minnesota Vikings now, and Jaron Hall is the starter. Hall was a 5th round rookie making his starting debut. Okay, now he may not have the job for long if Dobbs is going to get integrated, learn the playbook, that type of thing. But it's another situation where you got a rookie quarterback similar to Will Levis last week, where if Hall comes in, and he tears it up, Dobbs is on the bench. He's really got to tear it up, right?
Yeah, clearly you couldn't start Dobbs. Dobbs is just joined the team like on Monday. There's no way he's going to be ready to go this week with a whole new playbook. He's not that fast learner. He's a fast learner, but not that fast. So yeah, I'm not surprised they're putting in the rookie. It's going to be probably a very conservative playbook. Probably pretty run heavy. They're not going to lean too much on him to pass the ball. So I anticipate it's probably going to be a low scoring effort with a lot of work for Cam Akers and for Alexander Madison. That's how I kind of see what's going to happen there. But for me, the big news is they fired Josh McDaniels of the Las Vegas Raiders after that horrendous Monday night game. And it looks like they're going to bench Garoppolo as well. So they got a rookie coming in there, Aiden O'Connell, a guy I've never heard of, a rookie going to play this week as well. And I looked at the matchups, and they're playing the Giants. So it's going to be, I don't know, are they even going to score 6 points in this game? I would go the under of 6 points because I just don't. Last week, there was like 24 punts in the Giants-Jets game. Maybe this one will exceed that. I have a feeling that this week is going to exceed that. It's going to be terrible.
I don't put it past anybody to do well. So, Jaron Hall, Aiden O'Connell get their starting debut here. And you know what we saw with Will Levis? You and I were doubting Will Levis. Like, Will Levis is coming in. Screw that guy. And sure enough, he tore it up. And there's a lot of frustration, obviously, with Devontae Adams and Jimmy Garoppolo. So maybe he's got a lot of pull in regards to saying, hey, man, like, I'm just you saw him at the sideline. I'm effing sick of this, slamming his helmet down.
Yes.
Understandably so. Like, he's a great player, and he's stuck with a mediocre quarterback. And there was a deep ball. I think 60. He could have had a 60-yard catch and run plus, and he was overthrown the ball was thrown out of bounds. There was multiple plays last week where Devontae Adams wasn't getting the ball. Devontae Adams owners, I told you there would be a decline, and we knew that the downgrade at quarterback year after year. So I told you about Devontae Adams, but either way, he's got to deal with it. We'll see how these backups do. So that was kind of in the news and notes here. Other than that, nothing else in the news here that really jumps out at me. Anything else jumped out at you?
Yeah, there wasn't any surprise trades yesterday, so yeah, I mean it's fine.
It's
So
minor stuff like Puka Nakua is dealing with a swollen knee. Some people were limited in practice.
oh, Henry is injured. Henry's got like an ankle injury right
Yeah,
now,
he's limited
and
in practice. Limited. I heard he's just limited. Yep, you're right.
yeah, and I think and with the short week, that can be an issue here, and it could be a big week for Tajay. But and then I think also Hopkins is dealing with an injury right now as well. So
It's his
just
toe.
stuff to keep an eye on before
Yeah, it's just
Sunday.
yeah,
So
watch those. And Hopkins is just a toe thing, so it should be good to go. But yeah, good to note that. Be aware of that. Just you never want a player to be limited and you're not aware of it. That's all. All right,
right, right.
news and notes is done. Let's move on to the first matchup with this Thursday nighter. We got who do we have here? Tennessee at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a 3-point favorite in this one. Again, I mean, I would go Deontay Johnson here. I think didn't Pickens have a touchdown or something? He did well last week.
Pickens got one catch and he got the touchdown, so he saved his day. But yeah, very disappointing effort from him. I mean, the problem is, you got Pickett's injured, so it's probably going to be Trubisky who's going to be the quarterback. So that's terrible. And then Tennessee's coming out looking all of a sudden red hot with Will Levis. So I'm thinking there could definitely be an upset here, even though Tennessee is the underdog. I think Tennessee can win this one because the Pittsburgh offense just looks like crap. I mean, Deontay looked pretty good, but no one else does. So
Yeah, I'm liking the
what are you gonna
points
do?
here. I'm liking the points here for Tennessee for sure. And yeah, I mean, I would say based on last week that Levis, if you're in a 2-quarterback league, is a start. Like, I'm in this crazy competitive 2-quarterback league. I won last week. Believe it or not, I was down 70 some odd points in this week. And then literally like the Lions, Gibbs, by the way, Gibbs tearing it up. We're gonna talk about that. I think he should start moving forward. They're on a bye week this week. Montgomery's still probably gonna get the goal line work, but he really proved himself, right? And I was
Yeah, he
down,
looked great.
and it was hot. It was an extra 1 point. It was 1.5 points per reception for tight ends. So I got that boost with Laporta, and then Gibbs doing well. Absolutely super happy with my picks, and I had Goff, Gibbs, and Laporta started in that, and I was just so happy with it. And some people were DMing me; they're pissed at the end they sat Gibbs, because
Right.
they won the game. And they're like, oh, I just needed a couple more points for Gibbs. I'm like, come on, man, let's not be greedy here. And I'm all about being greedy, but he absolutely destroyed. He was a player of the game. It was great. And I'm again so happy for Jahmyr Gibbs. He should get the starting role moving forward. And I told you we've had this conversation every single week. It's about being benched and not seeing the potential. Will Levis example, Jahmyr Gibbs an example. Let these young guys go, give them the full reps, and give them the full opportunity. 1 game, 2 game, 3 game. If they haven't got it by the 3rd game, they're just not going to be great. That's what I feel. But it's happened before anyway. So anyway, I had to talk about that. Back to this game again. I start your starters: Henry, Levis, Hopkins. Najee. Man, I don't know, man. If you got it, if you don't have a better option,
I mean, you kind of have to at this
yeah.
point. There's so many injuries in running backs. I've been continuing to start him. He pulled out 10 points last week, so it's like, you know what, that's good enough. Maybe he'll get a touchdown. We'll see what happens. But Deontay, of course, you can start. I think Pickens, you can start, but that would be it on the Pittsburgh side. So.
All right, let's move on here to the next matchup. Well, this is going to be a Germany game. It's got my Arnold accent. This is Jeff Frankfurt. I was going to do the whole show in Arnold accent, but I decided not to do it. So not
Thank
bad.
God we did not do that.
I think people will get annoyed after a while, but they got Miami with the Miami Dolphins at KC. I can't do it anymore. Okay, Chiefs minus 2.5, and it's going to be in Germany. But yeah, KC minus 2.5, and at the end of the day, they're coming off a bad week. And I got my sheep voice in there too. But Kelsey was the only safe play last week. When they played Denver, and that should have been a blowout. And now they are on the road. Is Taylor Swift flying out to Germany? I doubt it. This would show how real the
I
relationship
doubt it.
is.
Yeah. I,
I,
I don't think she'll go all the way out there. And it's, I mean, this, when I first saw the match, I'm like, oh man, it's the game of the week, but then it's in Germany. Kansas City's been struggling. I'm really kind of surprised that they are still favored because I would pick them. I would pick Miami to pull an upset here. Their offense looks way better than the Chiefs. The Chiefs did pick up. They reacquired McCole Hardman to help bolster their receiving core because their receiving core is kind of terrible right now.
yeah.
So that makes me less likely to want to start like Rashi Rice. I got to see how the distribution happens with the targets with McCole added into the mix with everybody else. But of course, Mahomes and Kelsey, you auto start them, but and probably Pacheco as well. But I don't know if I would start anyone else on the Chiefs right now.
Tough matchup versus position versus with Tyreek Hill as well, but obviously you're not going to sit him. Now, I do want to quickly talk about Travis Kelsey and Miley Cyrus or whatever her name is, Taylor Swift.
Taylor
I
Swift, yeah,
I
not
get,
Miley.
I
No,
get, I get those two confused. They act the same. They look. I don't know. Who cares? But bottom line is, this shows if it's a true relationship. If she really loves them, she's gonna fly out to. She's gonna carve out time out of her busy schedule to be at the game in Frankfurt. If she's not there, that tells me that I'm not really believing in this. So Kelsey, Swift has to be at this game, and it's going to be on Sunday, 9:30 a.m. in Germany. I'm expecting Swift to be in the crowd by your side. We'll see. If this is true love, I think this would show that this is a real relationship. If she doesn't show up, I don't believe it because, again, it's so convenient to go to a game that's in, let's say, LA or New York or somewhere at home, right? But it's not as convenient to fly overseas with your man. Let's see if she does it. It's going to be a true telling tale on this relationship. That's it. That's my
we'll
thoughts
see.
on it. All
I
right.
mean, I have a very little concern about this relationship. It's very low on my priority list. But I mean, Kelsey didn't look that great when she wasn't at the game last week. So maybe he's her good luck charm. On the Miami side, I think you want to start everybody, man. Miami's just such a great offense. So many big plays. I don't care if it's a tough matchup for Tyreek. He's going to kill it, man. That dude is so freaking fast. He's going to get you your 20 plus points, no problem, and probably upwards of 30. I see the Miami pulling an upset here and getting the win.
Okay, moving on to the Rams and the Packers here. Now, the Rams are on the road. Packers are a -3 favorite. I'm going to pull it up here. Take care of that slider. Again, when you look at this one, Jordan Love was mediocre last week. Could have looked better. I heard Brent Rypien is starting. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the condition of the...
Yeah, because Stafford's probably out because he hurt his thumb. So I was like, oh, why are the Rams not favored in this game? It's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, Stafford's out. That's why. So this is gonna be this does not look like a great. This looks like a bust game. Like you want to just minimize your exposure. Kupp has been terrible. Kupp has just done absolutely nothing since coming back from his injury. And now you got the backup quarterback thrown to him. I think you still got to start him and Puka. But I'm not sure I want to start anyone else on the Rams right now, and I wouldn't expect much regardless. And same with the Packers, man. I mean, who's the wide receiver one on this team?
We don't know.
Aaron Jones has been terrible. I mean, it's just like I don't want to start anybody on Green Bay either. So, gosh,
it's wide receiver roulette because it really predicated on who gets a touchdown. It could be Reed, it could be Dobbs, it could be Watson. So you're literally, you're gambling with it because you don't know. You don't know who's catching the ball. And I would think that volume-wise, it's going to be Dobbs. But Christian Watson gets a touchdown, gets a couple receptions. He's a top receiver for the week. So I would lean Dobbs, but it's a crapshoot. And then Darrell Henderson for the Rams. I mean, I would go ahead and start him. Aaron Jones has been I told you, stay away from Aaron Jones.
Yeah, it's like a guy you want to start in your flex if you need him. Yeah, but I don't want to start Aaron Jones. I don't want to start AJ Dillon. I mean, it's just terrible offense. But I kind of figured that was, anytime your Hall of Fame quarterback leaves your team, that team just sucks the next year. There's just no getting around it.
No.
And that's just what's happening to Green Bay right now. And I think it's so funny that the Green Bay fans are just freaking out because they haven't had a bad quarterback in 30 years or something
Yeah,
like that. I mean, it's since
crazy.
the 90s, and now they're having to deal with it again. It's like, sucks to be you, Green Bay, but suck it up, like the rest of us that have our terrible quarterbacks.
It's
So,
wild. It's wild. They're scrambling. So yeah, very inconsistent
yeah.
there. And again, it's a crapshoot of a game when you look at the spread. Who knows who wins? It's a crapshoot. All right, moving on to Washington at New England here. New England, believe it or not, is a 3.5 point favorite in this matchup. We got Sam Howell, who's been really good in fantasy. I would start him, especially in a two quarterback league. 3-5 versus 2-5. What is it? 2-6 Patriots here. Mac Jones actually has a good matchup versus position if you're absolutely desperate. I mean, Stevenson, I don't trust, but McLaurin, I start. And if you want to consider a flex play, Demario Douglas, if you pronounce it right, from New England, wide receiver, could be a viable option this week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I wouldn't be excited about starting anyone from New England, but except for the defense. I mean, nobody's been sacked more than Sam Howell, so there's going to be points there. So if you got the Patriots defense, I definitely start that. Um, but that offense is just hot garbage, man.
Yeah.
There's just not much value there at all, and so I wouldn't start anybody unless you absolutely have to. Like I would maybe start Ramondre, and then that's pretty much it on that side of the ball. On Washington side, they're a little bit more productive. Obviously, McLaurin, Robinson, you start those guys. I think Howell can be started in a pinch if you need it because there's so many injured quarterbacks out there right now. But everyone else is a crapshoot. Curtis Samuel or Jamison
Right.
Crowder or those guys. I'm just like, geez, man. Or Antonio Gibson. I'm like, I don't want to start any of those guys. But maybe one of them will get a touchdown. Maybe you'll start them, and then you'll be fine. But otherwise, I
Moving
wouldn't expect much.
Moving right along, Tampa Bay at Houston. Houston's a 3 point favorite here. I think Tank Dell steps up this week. Damian Pierce has been terrible. I'm considering benching him this week. It is a tougher matchup versus position as well. Rashad White, a safe start. Mike Evans. And again, you're playing CJ Stroud, two quarterback league for sure. And then you're playing roulette again with the wide receivers, Adele and Nico Collins. It's the same type of game going on here in Houston.
Yeah, and I'd be okay starting Shroud. Again, there's so many injuries out there. I think he's probably fine to start. And I haven't heard about Baker Mayfield because I know he was dealing with an injury after last week's game. I'm guessing he's going to start. I haven't heard anything otherwise. So Godwin, Evans are probably good to go. White's going to get the volume, so he's probably going to be fine, even though he's terrible. And again, this looks like just another low scoring game, man. Over unders 39.5. I don't know. I guess I'm not inclined to take the under on this one, but yeah, it's not going to be an exciting game. So there you go.
Yeah, I haven't heard much. And by the way, going back, Stafford's thumb is considered day to day. It's a sprained ulnar collateral ligament in his thumb, according to McVay. Wanted to go back and check on that. And also now, let's move on to the next matchup here. We got Arizona at Cleveland. Cleveland's an 8 point favorite here. And apparently it's going to be Clayton. Sounds like something from like a cartoon. Clayton Tune. Like it just sounds so cartoony, that name, Clayton Tune. Against
Oh, I
PJ.
love those Clayton tunes from back in the 40s. They were
Yeah.
hilarious.
Was it like the Tiny Tunes or something like that? I don't know. Just
Yeah.
Clayton Tune and PJ Walker. I mean, look at this. Look at this starting lineup. Okay, Clayton Tune, PJ Walker. Check this out. Amari DeMarcado and Jerome Ford. Like, who would have thunk it? If we're talking, I'm like, hey Jim, maybe you should start, maybe you should stash Clayton Tune or PJ Walker or like Amari DeMarcado. We're like mid-August. We're talking about this. People will be like, huh? What? Who?
What? Yeah.
Like this is what we're dealing with. I mean, Kareem Hunt's a start as well if you got him, but again, it's going to be a bit of a committee there. Imari, what do you think of him? Are you starting him?
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably need to if you have him on your team. But again, the Arizona traded away their starting quarterback. Dobbs had played every game this season, and I don't know. I don't know why they would trade him away if Kyler Murray wasn't ready to go. And so if Kyler doesn't play this week, clearly the Arizona's tanking. They're tanking for a quarterback in the
Yeah.
draft next year. But this is just an ugly game. I'm really surprised Cleveland is favored by 8. Obviously, the Cleveland defense sounds like a great defense to start this week. But I would minimize my exposure. I think it's going to be the under on both sides of the ball here. And so it's probably just going to be a bad game. So
It's gonna be
there
a
you go.
wild week. Like I said, Imari. I mean, he had 20 attempts. I'm gonna start. I got him in one league. I'm gonna start him. I'm rolling Imari. But it's gonna be wild with these quarterbacks. Again, so many like first, first games for a couple people, and like questionable quarterback like Will Levis getting to start again, and like all these moves, and like Jared Hall, and it's gonna be wild. And especially from a betting perspective, I don't know, man. I would not be, it could be anybody's game this week, and that's where it's scary. So I don't trust a lot of these spreads and what's going on here. It's gonna be really weird and wild. So just buckle
Yeah.
up. All right,
And I
Chicago.
just want to say also, Deshaun Watson, what the hell's up with this guy, man? I mean, I guess, he's like, oh, I think I'm just going to sit out another week. And it's like, why is he acting like this? Oh, yeah, he's fully guaranteed. His contract is 100% fully guaranteed. He's like, I don't want to play.
Exactly.
And he just sucks when he does play. And he's just completely off my list, man. That guy's done. I just don't see any upside with him
No,
anymore.
no,
And
not at all. After all those
screw Deshaun
massages,
Watson, you know. Ugh.
for nothing. All right, let's
Right.
go
You
here.
should just go back and just get him again. Who cares? He's got the guaranteed money. Just go back and get yourself some more massages, you perv.
Exactly. Jim's unleashing. There we go. Where's our where's our Deshaun Watson voice? Remember that?
Oh yeah,
There it is. There it is. Oh, there it is. All right, let's move on
Yeah.
here. Chicago and New Orleans here, 2-6 versus 4-4. Again, Tyson Bagent is starting. Like, it's just weird, man. Dante Foreman is worth a start. Alvin Kamara, DJ Moore, Chris Olave. And again, we talked about this. Chris Olave, like, yeah, he's the top volume getter, but Rashid Shaheed is getting the work, man. He's getting the deep balls.
Well, he's deceptive because like last week he only got 3 catches. He only got 3 targets, but he
Yeah.
turned that into 150 yards and a touchdown. So, it's like that's never a guy you want to start. You don't want to start a guy that's going to get only 3 targets. But as far as Olave goes, he's just being just incredibly inefficient with his volume, not doing anything with it, and that's the most frustrating part. Is that it's just going to waste, and so Olave's got to step it up, man. He's got to prove that he is an elite level wide receiver, and he has
Right.
not proved it this year, and that's very disappointing. Because he should be just killing just on volume. He should be killing it right now, but he is not. So
No, not
that's
at
on
all.
him.
All right, moving on here. And who do you think? I mean, the Saints should do away with the Bears, I would think.
I
Here.
think easily. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they should. I definitely start the Saints defense. So
All right,
should be a
Seattle
good
up.
game for him.
Seattle up, Baltimore. Baltimore here, a nice favorite here, 5.5, especially being at home. And a lot of these home teams are the favorite. They just happen to have better records in the most case. So 6-2 Ravens versus 5-2 Seahawks here. Geno Smith, Lamar Jackson starts. Kenneth Walker's been consistent. Gus Edwards is a start here. Zay Flowers a must start. DK Metcalf. Again, you want to start your starters. Now, some of these guys do have tough matchups versus position. If you're going against Baltimore's run defense, you might have some issues, but you can't sit guys that are getting the volume. I think volume trumps the matchup. It has to, because those are your volume getters. You can't sit them. But just be aware that some of these guys do have tough matchups versus position. Like I said earlier, Tyreek Hill, tougher matchup versus the secondary that he was played against, but you got to start some of these guys. So again, in this case, start your starters. And Metcalf's been kind of mediocre this week.
Yeah, he's been bad. JSN you can't start. He's not getting enough volume. It was kind of nice and surprising to see Charbonnet starting to get worked in a little bit more.
Yeah, and he
That
did
was
well.
good. I'm not sure I would start him yet, but last week was very promising. I think he had like 9 carries and a few catches. That was great to see. Nice to see him taking more. Obviously, Kenneth Walker, I'd like to see him a little bit more on the field as well. I don't think he got nearly enough volume last week, and so they need to work those guys. And this should be a pretty good game. I actually am kind of excited to see this game.
Something to note here, last week, week 8, Tyler Lockett, 9 targets, Jackson Smith, 4, and 14 targets for Metcalf. But Metcalf underscored both these guys because they both had a touchdown. Metcalf did not. Something to note,
Right.
like I said, Metcalf is the number 1 target, but very touchdown dependent. So you are playing a little bit wide receiver roulette. And it seems like all the teams seem to be spreading the ball a lot more for everybody. Even guys that are wide receiver ones aren't getting the ball, like Adams, but that's a whole quarterback situation. So everyone's saying, well, yeah, you should go robust RB, blah, blah, blah. Wide receivers are not perfect, man. They're not crushing it either. So I want to get too excited
A
about
few are, But yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been. You look at that. You look at all the players that went in the first round, and it is a total minefield as to if you got a good player or not. I mean, it's just one of those kind of years. It's tough. So
All right, Minnesota at Atlanta. Believe it or not, Atlanta is the minus 5 favorites. That's simply very easily because Kirk Cousins is out, and you've got Jaron Hall starting. I'm still starting Addison no matter what. Someone's going to catch the ball if they throw it. Hawkinson, you got to start him.
yeah,
Now we
Hawkinson is good. Yeah,
now, I saw a bunch of articles saying that Arthur Smith is crazy. They're starting to lose as they're starting to catch up. But Bijan Robinson has to stay on the field. We see it with teams like with McCaffrey. We finally saw it with Detroit starting the best player on the field. And we saw Jameer Gibbs go. He ran with it. They won. He was player of the game. Why? Because he got the volume. So you need to feed Bijan Robinson. And again, I think Arthur Smith is already under some pressure here. You're out there and you're down and you're running Cordarrelle Patterson, a 10-year veteran who came into the league as a wide receiver, washed up, not even half the ability that Bijan has. Okay. Bijan is a real life what's highlight reel. He's a walking highlight reel
right.
and benching him. I don't know what, and they're playing their 5th round pick in Algier. I think Arthur Smith is trying to be too cute. It's almost like I heard an interview with him. He was saying something along the line of, "Oh, I don't care about your fantasy teams," or "I'm going to start Algier what I want." I don't know what the exact quote was, but it sounds like he's a little disgruntled with fantasy. So he's almost kind of like purposely doing this, but you got to start Bijan, Drake London, good matchup. And yeah, I mean, I would roll with those guys for sure. You have to start them, and they got to play them.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the Atlanta offense is just not that good. It's just not that high scoring. I figure this is going to be a pretty low scoring game. I can't see them really Vikings opening up the playbook to pass a lot. Always relies on the ground game. And also I don't know if it's going to be Ritter or if they're who was the guy that came in relief of Ritter? Oh, it was Heineke, right? Heineke was
Yeah,
playing
yeah, they're
last week.
thinking of starting him. It's going to be a game time or like close to a game time decision on this.
Yeah, and frankly, I'm fine with if they want to start Heineke because I'm just Ritter just is just garbage. So but I think this is going to be a pretty low scoring game. So kind of minimize your exposure, but start the studs on both sides and go with it, and hopefully they'll get a touchdown. And then you'll be fine. So
Actually, I'm putting a bid in right now for Heineke. Now you reminded me because I'm in a 2 quarterback league where I got Jared Goff's on bye. And I've been winning a lot. So I got to keep this going. So I might consider grabbing Heineke on the chance that he might play off the waiver. I'm going to do that. Thank you for reminding me, Jim. Thank you. I'm
yeah,
gonna,
that sounds like a good plan to me.
all
Sure.
right. All right, let's go here. Indianapolis versus Carolina. Indianapolis -3 favorite here, and they've been a disaster at quarterback as well. Minshew should be
No, they
starting.
haven't. Minshew's been all right. I mean, I think he's been okay.
He got banged up though last week, did he not? I think he's still good to go now.
Yeah, I think he's still playing. I haven't heard anything about him being limited this week, so I think he's
Taylor,
fine.
great matchup. Taylor's got a great, but Taylor should go off this week. Great matchup. Carolina's rush defense should run all over them. Pittman Thielen starts here. Again, you're saying, well, Joe, it's Captain Obvious. You're telling us all the starters to start. Yeah, but there's so much we're talking about. We're talking about injuries. We're diving in. We're making sure you guys start the right people. Anyone else here, Jim? Because some people say, well, oh, Captain Obvious, thank you. We're starting Taylor. Yeah, but there's so much more to it. There's discussion, there's injuries, there's moving parts, there's matchups, right? I get that all the time, right? Like, oh, thanks, Captain Obvious. Yeah, we're telling you, start your starter. But there's got to be
Yeah,
discussion. We
yeah.
got to talk about it, right?
Right, right. And Carolina, I mean, who do you really want to start on Carolina besides Thielen? I just, the backfield's a mess. And there's really no other receivers that are getting any sort of volume. Mingo, I want to see him start doing more because I think he's really good. But they're just not giving him enough volume. So you can't really start them. Carolina's 1-6. Yeah, they won last week. Good for them. But I do not see them pulling the win off here. I think Indianapolis is going to be fine. Good choices all around for Indianapolis. I'd start as many players as you can. Start Downs, start Pittman. I think, and I think that Minshew is probably fine to start as well with all the injuries at quarterback. So it should be a good game for them. So
Heineke's not available in this league. How cutthroat is that? He's not even available. You can't get high.
Yeah. I noticed that because I'm putting in some bids. There was one league where, like an idiot, I drafted two quarterbacks with the same bye week, Jared Goff and Trevor Lawrence, and so now I'm scrambling for to have to get another quarterback this week. And yeah, so I got bids out for Levis and a few other guys, but yeah, Heineke wasn't even on the list, so somebody already got him.
You know who's available though? I can get Clayton Tune. I guess
Oh, there you go, man. Go for it.
Clayton Tune or Jaron Hall. Make a pick here, but I might start one of those guys. Because I had Tannehill. I had Tannehill as my backup. I should have got Levis as well. I was thinking I should have got Levis, but I knew that I figured Tannehill might lose the job at some point. I just didn't jump on the Levis train quick enough. Someone got him.
Well, yeah, and Malik Willis is also there. And they were just being so non-committal to either one of those guys, even though Malik Willis is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So I see the next team, the next game up. Can we just skip this one?
Why is that? Giants and Raiders. Yeah.
Giants or Raiders. Oh God, start
Saquon.
Josh Jacobs, start Saquon Barkley, start Devontae Adams. That's it. I mean, this is this is the garbage game of the week, and I'll take the under on those points. 37.5. I'll take the under.
I like seeing Devontae Adams frustrated. It gives me entertainment to see the downfall of everybody that drafted Devontae Adams. So actually, I got to do like a funny video on that. The fact that he sucked this week, and he should be ashamed of himself, even though it wasn't his fault. It's
It
just
wasn't
funny.
his fault, man. I mean, I feel bad for the guy. He wants to win a Super Bowl. He gets
Wah, wah.
stuck on the Raiders, and it's his own fault for signing with the Raiders. But it's just kind of a bummer because he's at the well, he's not at the end of his career, but he's at the tail end, and he only has a few years left, and he wants to win a Super Bowl, but it's not going to happen on this team for sure.
Well, he thought he
So
was going to get it with Derek Carr, and I told you Derek Carr sucks, and now you're stuck, right?
yeah, uh, I don't know why he chose that team, but anyway.
All right. Next matchup here, Pollard. I mean, you have to start him. You invested a first round draft capital pick in him, and I told you to avoid him. He does have a tough matchup. So does DeAndre Swift with Dallas. So both running backs have it in tough. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb went off last week. Can't sit him. Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, and Smith. Devontae Smith, again, it's kind of like roulette with him. But, A.J. Brown, solid as they come. But I'm just warning you that the running backs here do have a tough matchup.
Yeah, they do. And but this looks like a great game. I'm very excited to see this. It is it is a conference game, so it could be lower scoring than usual, but both these offenses have just looked so great. And so excited to see these guys play. So I would start everyone you can on both these teams and hope it becomes a shootout. I hope it does.
And the tight end as well, Ferguson for Dallas. He's been pretty solid. All right. Buffalo at Cincy here. This is our Sunday night game. Buffalo at Cincy, -3 to Cincy. Burrow's alive. He's doing well. 5-3 versus 4-3 Bengals. Jamar Chase, James Cook, decent matchup. Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase. Start your starters here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it looks like a great game. I'm very excited to see this game. And yeah, I want to start as many players as possible. Didn't Buffalo pick up another running back? They picked up Leonard Fournette.
Right.
I
I
think
heard
he's
some
still on the practice squad, but that was kind of a surprise when they picked him up this week. Obviously, that's not great for who's already back there, but we'll see what happens. But I want to start as many players as I can on both these teams. It's going to be points bonanza. It's going to be great. So I'm very excited.
All right, final matchup here. I do love Brees Hall this week. He's been tearing it up, and it's funny to see Dalvin Cook actually down as we said he would. And so many people told you draft Dalvin Cook round 5, and I said no, don't draft Dalvin Cook with Brees. And he should have never been acquired on this team. Like I told you, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But
They paid him $9 million.
What a
$9 million. That's more than most of the other running backs in the league. And the dude is washed. He's just not good anymore. And I don't know. I heard it was because of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wanted him on the team, but I don't know. Yeah, he's not good.
Chargers, we'll see if Eckler continues. He had one big catch and run. Is that going to continue? He's been crap all year. He's been injured. We'll see if that continues. Keenan Allen, again, tougher matchup versus position this week. Arguably one of the toughest matchups against the Jets secondary. But, I mean, you got to start him. Quentin Johnson finally started to come alive last week, partly because Palmer was banged up, came off the field, came back on the field. But it was nice and promising. He looked good with every catch that he had, did Quentin Johnson. But I don't know if I feel comfortable starting him against the Jets defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where we've got a good offense against a good defense on one side. On the other side, we got a terrible offense against a terrible defense. So on the Jets side, the only players you can really start are Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. But on the Chargers side, I mean, you gotta start your studs there, and um, you know, I think they're good enough to overcome the Jets defense. But this is probably going to be a lower scoring affair. So there's limited value here. But you still got to start. You got to start Herbert. You got to start Eckler. You got to start Keenan Allen. But that's about it. That's about all the only players I would start on the Chargers side.
I'm pulling up the best defenses to start, but I will tell you Denver, Detroit, Jacksonville, San Fran, all on bye. Christian McCaffrey owner, sorry, you're on bye this week. Anyone jumping out at you on defense? I don't mind Titans versus Pittsburgh, Patriots versus Washington, and anyone playing those rookie quarterbacks. There could be an opportunity there. Anyone else jumping out at you?
Again, yeah, the when you've got a defense that's facing off against a quarterback starting in their first game in the NFL, there is a bonanza there, a potential bonanza for both turnovers and sacks. And that's how defenses score their points. So that's why I typically stream defenses. And yeah, there's so many first time NFL quarterbacks playing this week that there's going to be opportunities there for defenses to score some points. So
I do like the
go with it if you
Browns.
need to.
Browns versus Arizona. I do like Saints versus Chicago. I'm looking here. Titans versus Pittsburgh. Patriots versus Washington. Tons of good matchups here, man. The Giants versus Vegas this week. Yeah, so there's tons, man. Just go out there, do some research based on what we said, and start the right defense, stream the right defense. All right. That's it, Jim. I mean, is there anything else you want to add here? Week 9. I mean, you gotta go for the guys that are the volume getters, really.
Yeah, and you got to start thinking about the end of the season here, the playoff schedule. Do you have because I think in most leagues you can only trade for another couple of weeks here, then that shuts down. So really go over your team, look at what their schedule's like for weeks 15, 16, 17. Who are their opponents? And if you got players with bad matchups at the end of the league, I would look to trade them for someone that has really good schedule for the end of the year. So that's something to start to consider, and make it happen, make a trade happen. So,
all right, Jim. Thank you, guys. NFL Week 9 coming up, and I can't believe it's Week 9. We're like halfway there now. It's wild.
Yeah, more than halfway at this point. So yeah, great.
All right, guys. Subscribe, thumbs up, drop any questions below. We'll try to get to as many as we can. We'll talk soon. We're out. Bye, Jim. Thank you.
All right.